This 3D dimension bust rendition of Egyptian Queen Nefertiti from 1345 BC, possibly by Egyptian sculptor Thutmose, is currently in display at the Neues Museum in Berlin. Two German artists released the 3D model data with a public domain license for an exhibition in Cairo.
Welcome! I am Trilce Navarrete, and in this video we will tackle the question to digitize or not to digitize. Museums have adopted digital technology first of all for administrative tasks, such as managing human resources, budgets and membership lists. Eventually, museums have also adapted all core activities, including preserving, researching and communicating about the collections using network computers in one level or another. Think of the barcodes to locate objects, the collection management system where all information is stored, and the website and social media channels where to find the museum online. You might have encountered the museum content in an online shop or even outside of a museum setting, such as a friend's feed, in Wikipedia, a video game, or in your favorite website. A new trend is taking the digital images back into the physical space to cover large warehouses with art for a so-called immersive museum experience. But what is a digital museum? The International Council of Museums provides the definition of a museum organization, but not for the digital variant, which continues to develop as our use of hardware, software and content evolves. A new museum definition has been drafted and might consider the virtual dimension, which has been proposed as a complement and enhancement of the physical museum. Should museums digitize? Why do firms adopt new technologies? Innovation economics teaches that firms can adopt technology to gain a better place in the market. Firms can innovate with new products, such as providing a new exhibit, new processes, such as adopting mass digitization or megapixel technology, new organization forms, such as adding a chief technology officer to the management team, by finding new markets, such as reaching an online audience that will otherwise never visit the museum, and by locating new resources, like identifying new ways to reposition the collections found in the storage rooms that can be used digitally on a variety of new products and services. Digital technology indeed allows museums to easily innovate and reposition their objects into new markets. But if it is as easy as it sounds, why are there so few objects available online? From innovation theory, we know that a firm can benefit from an innovation only when a combination of elements is present. In the case of the digital museum, the organization will need to develop ideas of what to do with the collections online, for instance by sharing knowledge with other museums to develop joint services. The technical skill to make it happen, not only outsourcing all the work, but keeping the know-how in-house. There will have to be a demand for the new services. There needs to be financing available also for the long term, and museums need to know how the digital environment works, for instance regarding copyright, network effects or new consumption patterns. Having these 5 elements in a complementary innovation system enables firms to advance innovatively and in the long run contribute to radical innovations. The museum sector in general appears to still be testing the waters, though a few forerunners are clearly benefiting from adopting a digital work practice and from tapping into the growing networked information society which has just surpassed 51% of the world population. That means that almost 4 billion people are connected online. However, a small half of the population still has just standard digital skills. In order to achieve positive outcomes from using the internet, for instance, to address gaps in the labor market and concerns with widening social inequalities, the International Telecommunications Union has identified soft skills as key component. What are these soft skills? They refer to the ability to evaluate, make sense, and reutilize the information encountered, in this case, on the internet. Hey, isn't that what museums do? Present objects within various contexts so that we can learn to compare them? Could museums contribute with the missing soft skills? An ICT development index has been developed to measure countries' infrastructure and access, intensity of use, and skill to use the tools. Countries are ranked accordingly as metric of their ability to function in the information society. The ICT Development Index does not measure content, while the information society is really all about content. In Europe, the Digital Single Market Strategy is the policy instrument devised to enable online access to products and services. So where are collections online? According to estimates from the US and Europe, about half of museum collections are registered in a computer and about a third have an image. But less than 10% of all museum collections are online. That is very, very little. Why so little? The problem really appears to be a matter of resources. Museums lack the staff, time and skills to undergo the digital makeover. And resources are not readily available, partially because benefits are not fully understood. Generating metadata and stories for museum collections is labor-intensive and requires a massive investment. The museum community has been developing a common language to share their collections and stories across the internet, for instance by building common control vocabularies of places, people, objects and techniques to identify commonalities among the objects. In this case, the benefit is clear, and museums joining the digital wave can greatly advance by sharing the work done by their peers. And if collections are made available online, must it always be linked to the physical museum? The Netflix series Alias Grace, adapted from Margaret Atwood's best-selling 1996 novel taking place in Canada during the 1840s, has been using paintings from museums' open repository online to decorate the period rooms. Must viewers of the series be aware of the Danish paintings dressing the set? What about offline? Would you be able to identify the painting Cupid and Psyche by David from the Museum of Cleveland in a dress? Maybe if more images become available online, we will see an increase in the social visual vocabulary beyond the superstars. Indeed, things are changing. Value is very much based on access, not on property. Consumers online are less interested in ownership and rather pay licensing subscriptions for music, for instance. Share ownership and co-production are hence more easily found online. Abundance has replaced scarcity, so that value is given to the most widely accessible information, ideally also for machine processing. And last, networks are of essence in the generation of value and perceived utility. There is no sense in having a large repository of data for personal consumption. Static databases rapidly age. Instead, hyperlinked networks containing the collections of numerous museums across the world can remain alive by allowing them to be integrated into consumers' daily lives. This was the video on digital museums. Thank you for watching. You might now see all the images you encounter with different eyes and wonder if these might have originated from a museum organization. A list of references relevant to this topic are available at the end of this video.